Joe Burrow is back. Hear from Joe, my takeaways from practice, his news conference where he discussed his wrist injury, his recovery, and how far along he still has to go. Plus, hear from two of his top wide receivers on how he looked the past couple of days in practice. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of Sports Illustrated's BengalsTalk.com, and you need to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell right here on CBT, where, we have Joe Burrow's entire news conference posted right here. Check it out, because there's a lot of good nuggets in there, and I'm not going to be able to play all of them for you right here, but you are going to hear from Joe in just a second. And the key to this was getting ready for training camp and getting ready for the start of the season when Joe underwent that season-ending wrist surgery, suffered that season-ending wrist injury in November against the Ravens. And so far, so good. And that's the good news. Joe Burrow did everything that you would have expected him to do today, which was just one day after practicing with the team yesterday. He was throwing off platform where he's rolling out and throwing, flicking his wrist. And he kind of moved to that progression, he said, recently, where he's working on that off-platform stuff, and because that's more of arm and wrist than it is in the pocket set normal mechanics. And so things are good. Now, he admitted that he's dealing with some pain here and there, that it's not 100%. He's fully cleared for everything but contact, but coming back from any injury, there's going to be some pain. And the big takeaway for me was that Joe is growing and acknowledging that not every day do you need to push through the ailment, the pain. And he mentioned that there are times when he's practiced through stuff, and the specific time, and he didn't mention this specific time, but the calf injury last year. Well, he suffered that calf strain on July 27th. It was their second training camp practice. Came out with that calf sleeve on his calf because he had a little soreness in there. It was a little tight. But he's like, oh, I could go. And then he went out there and practiced a ton. Said he needs to understand when to dial it back some. And that's certainly something that he's going to have to learn. Here's Joe Burrow on dialing it back, and a few other interesting thoughts from QB number one.
I'm growing and learning how to, handle my body. I think that's a continued process of learning, when to push through something that you think, maybe might be there, and another day, you might not be feeling great, and, this muscle's a little tight, like, hey, we got to take it easy today. So that's something that I'm continuing to learn. I think that's part of growing as a player and as a pro, and it's a continued process day in and day out. The uncertainty, whenever you have an injury to your throwing side, you're never quite sure how it's going to turn out at the end, but I'm in a good spot. I'm happy with where I'm at, and I'm going to continue to get better. My why is always just continuing that drive for greatness, continuing that drive every day, trying to improve. I'm addicted to getting better, and that feeling, there's nothing like the feeling of getting better, because that makes the day-to-day really worth it. Once you start to see the results of the work that you're putting in, there's nothing like that. And so that's really what I'm striving for every day.
One thing that I took away from what Joe Burrow said on Tuesday was how challenging of a time it's been over the past couple of months. And I asked him what the biggest challenge was, and it's the uncertainty, dealing with your throwing hand, your throwing wrist, and the uncertainty around that. The good news is they're almost out of the woods. They're almost towards the end of the tunnel. He's not fully cleared for contact yet. Everything else, like I said, he looked really good in practice, was throwing deep, was throwing off platform. All of the things you'd want him to do, had plenty of zip on the ball. But don't take my word for it. We asked Trenton Irwin and Andre Yosavash exactly that. Let's start with Trenton Irwin. Here's what he had to say about how Joe Burrow looked in practice.
I think he's jumped right back into where he's at. I think he obviously wants to always improve every year, but I think he's where he needs to be, and excited to get after it.
How curious were you, and I know you can't speak for other guys, but just to see what he looked like and see what he's able to do this early in this process?
Yeah, that's, everyone's injury is their own personal journey, and, for us, we're just sort of wondering where everyone's at. So it was cool to see that, he really hasn't missed a step and he's able to do what he can do.
You know his, for lack of a better word, zip that he can put on a ball from your time throwing with him. Does it feel the same to you right now?
Yeah, it's there. It's there. It feels great. We've thrown a couple times over the last couple weeks. So, we've seen it early, in the early portions of OTAs. So, he's obviously still working on what he wants to be better at, and I'm sure there's plenty of things there because that's just the type of guy he is. But, it's there. It's there, and it's fun to see that.
So that's the veteran Trenton Irwin. What about second-year wide receiver Andre Yosavash? Here's what Yosavash had to say about Joe Burrow's recovery and how he's looked over the past couple of days.
It was good. I mean, he looks like he hasn't missed a step. You can tell he's been working. Giving guys advice. Like giving Mike Gesicki advice every route. Just trying to build chemistry with everybody on the field. So it's been good. I'm not necessarily surprised. I mean, I feel like everybody knows he's the type of guy that is hungry to get back. Watching what happened last year with the Chiefs and stuff, I mean, we obviously have a goal in mind, and so he's always about that, and that's kind of, his whole life, our whole lives, and you expect nothing less from him.
Do you notice any differences in him, or if so, what?
Not really. I mean, he's throwing the ball, with me at least, on time, on the mark, down the field. I think he overthrew Charlie on one of the long routes, and so he's ripping it down the field for sure.
Overall, this is exactly what you were hoping for. Like I said, everybody was hoping for was that Joe Burrow would continue to make progress. He's making progress like the Bengals had hoped, like you had hoped. And so what's next? Well, I think he's just going to continue to get stronger. Overall, one thing he discussed is how he put on more muscle. He is bigger. And so that is certainly a factor. He wants to be bigger this season, stronger, and we'll see if that helps him stay healthy, stay more durable. But there's all these little ligaments in the wrist, and you want to get that as strong as you can too. And I think that's the other element here is he's still doing that. And as he strengthens the wrist, as he continues to do more, as he continues to heal, well, that pain that he does deal with here and there will go away. But the key is for him to acknowledge, all right, we need to pull off the gas pedal a little bit. And there is a certain maturity that comes with that in that mindset. But I think Joe Burrow is probably learning from the calf specifically. I don't think the wrist really has anything to do with it, but the calf specifically on when to dial it back a little bit. So you don't make something that's real small turn into a bigger thing. With the wrist, obviously it was a big thing, but he's getting towards the end of it. We are going to have you covered. Rookie minicamp is this week. When will the schedule come out? There's been speculation that it's Thursday night. Well, if it is, we're going to have you covered whenever the NFL schedule comes out. And tonight, Tuesday night, Enter the Jungle, 8 o'clock. Andrew Fox-Miller and myself, we will see you there. For Andrew, I'm James Rapien. Make sure you check out everything Joe Burrow had to say right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. And until next time, thank you so much for watching CBT.